Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, the Progressive Liberal Party ratifies 3 incumbent candidates.
PLP!
Will Dr. Bernard Nottage be returning to frontline politics or bowing out? The answer to that question straight ahead.
2 men charged with a string of armed robberies. Who will be the flag bearer for the Bahamas in tonight's Olympic opening ceremonies? Welcome to our news. I'm Christina McNeil. Thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight, no retreat, no surrender was the motto last night as 3 incumbent candidates were ratified for the Progressive Liberal Party, kicking the governing party into full campaign mode. Prime Minister Perry Christie made the announcement at party headquarters, noting that more candidates will be ratified shortly. It was a festive mood at the Sir Lyndon Pinling Center last night as the PLP ratified 3 candidates for re-election: Mount Moriah MP Arnold Forbes, Nassau Village MP Dion Smith, and Tall Pines MP Leslie Miller. As each candidate accepted the ratification last night, they laid out a roadmap to the future as the party prepares for the next general election.
I stand here with a sense of accomplishment and a sense of hope for our future. Because hope is what this great PLP party brings to this corner of the Bahamas.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Mr. Prime Minister, as you can see, me and my people are ready to wait. And we're ready now. Our marching orders are still no retreat. No.
This is my 7th time being nominated. I want to say how proud I am to have been associated with this party all of my life. That's at least 50 plus years.
Prime Minister Perry Christie proudly introduced each candidate, noting that the National General Council of the PLP will soon be ratifying more candidates.
We are going to move now more quickly than we've been moving in the past towards nominating our team. And we're therefore going to have special call meetings that we would expect you to come out to because we are now challenging our candidates to get into the areas on a steady, full-time basis.
The party last night announcing that State Minister for National Security, Senator Keith Bell, would be campaigning in Carmichael. In the room of packed supporters, the Prime Minister also pointed out former Free National Movement candidate Norris Bain and former Democratic National Alliance candidate Attorney Wayne Monroe, who Christie said would be seeking nominations. He did not say which constituencies the men would be seeking nomination for. Well, the Prime Minister says the PLP has begun the process that will determine who will become the next government of the Bahamas as the country gets one step closer to the next general election.
In our democracy, we have elections every 5 years, within 5 years. We know that now we are approaching rapidly that time in the calendar where political parties become very preoccupied with preparing for general elections.
Earlier this week, the Prime Minister told the House of Assembly that the Boundaries Commission would be convened shortly as he invited the Leader of the Opposition to submit the name of a member to the Commission. The Deputy Prime Minister has already been appointed to the Commission, along with House Speaker Dr. Kendall Major and Supreme Court Justice Stephen Isaacs.
Constitutes the Commission that will examine the boundaries in our country and make a determination as to whether or not there will be additional seats or the boundaries will remain as is, or whether they'll be adjusted. And so it's those issues that we have to do, and therefore once it's constituted, I expect them to work very quickly and very effectively moving forward.
Christie says the PLP must remain focused as candidates begin campaigning.
That we are preparing for the future.
Yes.
And we know that the Bahamian people will be asked to make a decision between a party of heritage, a party of stability, a party composed and constituted by people with all sorts of ability, with a great vision and one that will serve with magnificence the best interests of the people throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
But while several members of the Progressive Liberal Party have received nomination nods, veteran politician Dr. Bernard Nottage says he has not made up his mind about running for public office. Jasmine Brown has his candid comments in this report.
That's right, Christina. Despite being in frontline politics for decades, Nottage says he's not sure he'll seek a renomination for the Bain and Grantstown constituency. When Nottage was asked if he intended to run in the upcoming general election, he said it's a question he could not answer at this time.
Well, I don't know if I have an answer to that question at this time.
Nottage, who was appointed Minister of National Security and Leader of Government Business in the House of Assembly in May 2012 after winning the Bain and Grantstown seat, has a long history in politics. In addition to serving in Prime Minister Perry Christie's cabinet, Nottage served in the cabinet of the late Sir Lyndon Pinling. While he has been active in the Bain and Grantstown constituency, Nottage admits there is still a lot of work to be done. He adds that while he would like to be the one to do it, he is still weighing his options.
There's a lot of work to be done in constituencies like Bain and Grantstown, much of which we haven't been able to accomplish during this 4 years, and so there are very, very many things that I would wish to have the opportunity to complete. But of course, whether I do or not is dependent on a number of options.
He adds that his decision would also depend on his constituents.
I regard myself as a servant of the people.
Now, in addition to consulting his constituents, Nottage says he's also discussing his political future with his family. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Jasmine. Well, a 24-year-old Bahamian woman was reportedly shot and killed in an Atlanta neighborhood around 5:30 Thursday morning after she was driving home from work. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has identified the woman as Shayna Smith, who worked at Amazon. Police say Smith lost control of her vehicle after she was shot at least twice in the head.
At about 5:30 this morning, officers responded to a call that was actually a vehicle fire call. When they got here, they noticed a dark-colored BMW in the wood line off of Leslie Street. The tires were spinning on the vehicle, so assuming that's why it came up as a vehicle fire from the tires spinning, causing all the smoke. He noticed a young female behind the driver's seat of the vehicle that appeared to have been shot at least twice to the head area.
EMS personnel were called to the scene and rushed Smith to an Atlanta hospital where she was pronounced dead.
There's multiple, more than 25 shell casings on the scene from what appears to be a rifle round and some other weapons as well. And we're canvassing the area for witnesses, trying to see if anybody saw anything. All we have right now is that we noticed she was most likely behind the wheel of the vehicle when she got shot, and the vehicle kept going. She lost control, apparently, and veered off the side of the road.
Bahamas Consul General to Atlanta, Randy Roll, told our news that Smith and her family lived in Atlanta for just under a year. He noted that he has been in contact with police officials who have kept him updated on their ongoing investigation. Roll says he also met with Smith's mother last evening.
Any mother having to hear that news that, you know, your daughter, you're waiting for your daughter to come home and that never happens is very sad. But her mom, in speaking with her, she's very strong. She also has a young son, and so, you know, definitely she is there for her. And we just wanted to not only show her that, you know, we support her in terms of from the Bahamas government standpoint, but emotional support as well, because that's very tough.
In other news, opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis says the party will not be hindered by the resignation of Central Grand Bahama MP Nico Grant, who stepped down as leader of opposition business in the House of Assembly and shadow minister for works on Wednesday afternoon. The FNM leader says despite Grant's resignation, the party must move on and rebuild so that it is a viable opponent for the PLP in the next general election. Grant's resignation follows last week's contentious FNM convention, where deep divisions were highlighted.
Grant did what he thought was best.
When When asked if he thought there could be more fallout following the convention, Minnis said his focus is now on how to repair the F&M.
The party will do all it can to heal, unify, and move forward and win the next coming election.